Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Whitewater Township Board of Trustee meeting. If I can have everybody please stand for a Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Fiscal Officer Jim Brett, would roll call, please?
Mr. Pope? Here. Mr. Shively?
Here.
And Mr. King?
Here. And if everybody's had a chance to review the meeting minutes from February 19, 2024, regular meeting,
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
voice vote, please.
Mr. Pope?
Yay.
Mr. Shively?
Yep.
And Mr. King?
Yay.
I also have the minutes from January 26th.
Correct, yes. Yeah, I didn't see them on here. So we also need the approval of the, what date was that, Jim?
January 26th, a special meeting.
The January 26th special meeting. I will so move on that.
I'll second it.
And a voice vote, please.
Mr. Pope?
Yay.
Mr. Shively?
Yay.
Mr. King?
Yay. Yeah, that's the one we had to carry over, correct. Okay,
Falls in the minute book in the correct spot there. Because
Yeah.
it was-
you're good.
yeah.
Also, can we get, did everybody get to review the invoices?
I did. I'll make a motion.
No, I'll second.
Voice vote, please.
Mr. Pope?
Yay.
Mr. Shively?
Yay.
Mr. King?
Yay. And Sergeant May, are you ready to do your sheriff's report?
I am.
Perfect, thank you.
How are you all tonight?
Good, how are you?
I'm well. It's nice to see the sun shining and staying a little lighter later. I like it. All right, we're dealing with February of 2024, and these were reports taken during that period. We had 1 breaking and entering. We had 6 thefts. We had 1 identity fraud. We had 2 unauthorized use of motor vehicles. Basically, somebody gave another person permission, but they failed to return it within time parameters. 2 criminal damagings, 2 domestic violences, 2 menacings, 1 weapons under disability. This came by way of an OVI. 1 drug possession, 1 drug paraphernalia, 1 stolen vehicle recovery, unrelated to the 2 previous unauthorized uses. 13 aided cases, and 5 other non-criminal reports. So this brought our total up to 38. We went past our total in January, which was 32, so February is fairly active for us. We had 25 auto accidents, and we had 30 by way of comparison January, and we had an equal amount of calls for service in February as we did in January. It's 386. So it was pretty active February. I think the mild weather definitely brought things out, no doubt.
Yeah.
So, but nothing unusual, no severe upticks or anything like that, just a little busier than normal.
Anybody got anything for Sergeant May?
I do not. Have you heard from Brian?
I have not. I just actually sent him a text. I
I
sent
did
him
too.
on the agenda. So my guess is he may not be aware. I don't know whether he's aware of the new date and time, but I did send him a text. So.
I sent him one too.
All right. I'll let you know if I hear back from him.
Well, if he rolls in while we're still going, that's all that matters.
Yes, sir.
Trustee Pope, you got something?
Thank you for the information. I haven't had a chance to totally review it, but I kind of perused it, and a lot of information in there. Thank
You're
you
welcome. I
for that
appreciate your
information.
patience in the delay. It was a newer guy to get it together, but he tabulated a lot of info. It's very, very interesting. I
Yeah.
kind of perused it as well. I haven't dove into it, but it's an interesting report. I was curious to see, and it's not altogether surprising.
No.
Let me put it
No, but
that
I
way.
just like to have the hard data to confirm
Absolutely.
suspicions or what have you.
Absolutely, and you want to know where resources are being used predominantly.
Yep.
So I think it was a smart call.
Yep. That's all I have.
The only thing I got is, I heard that with time change, accidents go up, so it'll be interesting to see what we got next month.
We get an uptick
See
in
if
March.
See if that really does happen. I
Well-
heard time change increases accidents.
We'll look at the data.
Right.
I don't know whether it's more in the morning or more in the evening because people are driving like idiots, but
Yeah.
we'll find out through the data, I guess. So.
We'll see.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Be safe out there.
You're welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I can't see without my glasses. We got, we're going to skip the public presentations in case we get Officer Peak here, so we'll give him a little bit of time. I think Chief just rolled in. You want us to jump over you, Chief? Give you a minute? So,
If I may jump in, I just actually
Okay.
got a text back from him. I don't think he's going to be able to make it
Okay.
tonight, so I apologize. I'll touch base and see if maybe he can attend next month.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
All right.
good deal.
Thank you, Sergeant. Yes, sir. So Sergeant just reported that Officer Peak will not be able to make it. Other things have come up, which they do when you're a officer. That's what happens in law enforcement. So hopefully we would, Trustee Shibley, if you want to talk with him, maybe try to get him back in April.
He's texting me back and forth right now. So
Okay,
I'll-
perfect.
I'll know something here in a minute,
Yeah.
when and
Yeah,
where.
he's a good guy. He'll make sure he gets it straight and squared away, so. And then we're gonna wait. Chief, whenever you're ready, you can come on up and, yeah, we just had we had Officer Peak and he can't make it. He's got other things coming up in the line of duty, so we gotta, you got on there quicker, and I saw you drive by, so
That's
I'm
okay.
like, well, Chief's here, so.
Somebody was taking up my afternoon. I
Yeah.
won't mention any names.
No, you're good.
Lieutenant Swearingen.
Yep. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How's everybody?
Good.
Good.
So our emergency runs for the month of February 2024, 79 EMS details with 81 patients. 55 of those were transported. 37 fire details for a total of 116 details for the month of February. Brings our yearly total to 248 details for the year. I will, yeah, I'll skip through that next section. There's nothing that, I believe, unless you have any questions.
New ambulance.
I do have that covered a little later, but yes, the new ambulance is in service, and just in time. We do have some minor maintenance issues with Squad 4 and Squad 5 that need to be taken care of. So the new ambulance did have to go back to Braun. It had an electrical issue. This was the first ambulance with their new Prawns electrical system. So of course, it did have some bugs in it. We had it at the local repair shop. He knew what the issue was, but due to programming, he could not get in and make those changes. So the engineers at Braun wanted it back. So it was up there for about a week. We got it back. It's loaded. It's in service. It's already made a few runs, so it is up and running. So our staffing for the month of February, no station closures. 100% of our shifts were covered by Whitewater Township firefighter paramedics. And you can see our percentages are getting a little better with 2 or more than 2 medics per shift. Currently, I believe we have 14 paramedics on staff. So we are still accepting applications for part-time firefighter, part-time EMT, part-time firefighter medic. I did receive 1 application and 1 inquiry over the weekend, so we will be processing those and making sure that they have all the testing and everything done. So we will be moving forward on those. And as always, we still are utilizing WestJet as supplemental paramedic coverage when needed. EMS Division Chief, the applicants were interviewed on February 26th with our Administrator, Peggy Westerfeld, our Medical Director, Dr. Thomas Charlton, and myself. All the candidates were highly qualified, and it was not an easy decision. A recommendation was sent to the Board of Trustees on behalf of the interview panel with our selection of Jim Corbin. So at this time, I'd like to recommend Jim Corbin be selected to fill the EMS Division Chief position. Didn't know if you had any discussion about that, or now or later, or
Does anybody have any questions on?
I don't have any questions because I've been in discussion with the chief. I highly recommend we make the move to do that. I mean, do you want to do a motion now, or do you want to discuss it more first?
Trustee Shibley, you have anything
I
that?
don't have any questions. I'm good with it.
Okay,
If you want to do it right now,
yeah,
and this,
Yeah.
we can do it later.
I make a motion, we proceed with the Jim Corbin as EMS Division Chief.
I'll second it.
okay. Voice vote, please.
Mr. Pope,
Yay.
Mr. Shively,
Yay.
and Mr. King.
Yay.
Just to clarify, were you good with the recommended pay rate as well that was sent over?
Yeah.
Okay, so all that would be included in that motion? Okay.
Everything was in the motion.
Okay, good. Thank you. The FEMA Assistance to Firefighters Grant, the AFG grant, our 2023 application has been submitted. Again, we submitted for portable radios. Due to some guideline changes, mobile radios are no longer a priority item. So the grant writers did reconfigure our grant, and we did submit just for portable radios this time. Along with the radios, we have the State of Ohio Marks Grant application that was approved for $10,000. I did send the board a proposal to purchase 4 mobile radios at a cost of $11,828.16. This does not include installation of those radios. So when you guys get to the new business, if we could, I'd like to recommend purchasing those 4 radios and getting those installed in the engines. State of Ohio Priority 1 EMS grant, our application has been submitted. Last year we did receive $3,100, which covered the cost of 2 new video laryngoscopes for the EMS units. Let's see, where are we? So along with the Marks Award, I've also sent the board a proposal, the proposal for the 4 radios, but I also sent you information regarding the rest of the radios that were needed to purchase. So don't need any action on that at this time. It was basically just information showing you the balance of the radios that we need to order and the costs for all of those radios. All right, if I can go over it real quick if you want, or
Yes, please do.
okay.
Yes.
So for future purchases, in order to be compliant with the Marks link letter authentication, the following radios still need to be purchased and placed in service before July 1st, 2025. Currently, we have eight portable radios that meet this requirement. Those radios were purchased last year in May. So mobile radios, we still need 14 additional mobile radios at a cost of just under $3,000. And as for portable radios, we need 10 Motorola APX 6000 radios and then 3 of the APX 900s. The difference in those radios are the APX 900 is more of an administrative radio, whereas the 6000s are more rugged for being in the hazardous conditions and stuff like that. So that is the difference in those radios. And there is a significant price difference in those as well. So again, we did apply for radios with the FEMA grant. We'll keep our fingers crossed that we will be able to receive funding for that before the end of this year. However, it took 6-7 months to receive the 8 portable radios that we ordered last year, and just 1 mobile radio, that we ordered. I believe it was about 3 months it took to receive that radio. So we are up against a little bit of a time crunch. Could we possibly put this order in a month or 2 and hopefully sit on it? And by the time the radios come in, we hear from the FEMA grant that we've received it, hopefully. But either way, we are looking at an additional $117,000 of radios that we need to purchase and get in service before July 1st of 2025. No, we can order them, but not purchase them, is what we could do. That has been done in the past with other equipment. As long as you are not invoiced for them prior to receiving the grant funds, you can do that.
Chief, I apologize, you may have already said this, but when are you usually notified about the grant?
Last year, it was, I received word, actually, it was December.
Oh, geez, that
Yeah.
late, huh?
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
in this
It's usually
year's,
like June or July, so.
well, it just, it depends on when the application period closes.
Okay.
And then, once you go through all of your computer scoring, peer review, and it just seems like every year, we go longer and longer and longer,
Yeah.
which is a good thing, but then, sorry, we ran out of money, we can't fund your project.
Okay.
So this year, again, this is a 2023 application period, it closed Friday, March 9th, 2024.
Right.
So, I'm not anticipating, unless we're awarded early,
Right.
the latest I would say would be, again, sometime in December.
Okay.
And I think that's probably pushing a little too long, based on last year's order, the time that it took to receive the radios on last year's order.
Just one more question before somebody else jumps in. What, do you have an actual estimation on what the installation cost is going to be for the 4 radios by chance?
No, I don't have that at the moment.
Okay.
I'm thinking it shouldn't be too expensive, because all the radios are on the dash, so it's not like we're having to pull the dash down on the radio. I think it maybe $500 a radio, I'm thinking. 'Cause he just installed one in the new medic unit. We have not received that bill yet.
I'm just getting, you know what I'm doing.
I
I'm
know
just
where
trying
you're
to get
going.
an estimation
Yeah, I know
because
where you're
I'm pretty
going.
familiar with it.
Yeah.
I'm just not familiar with that
Get a
installation.
total
And-
cost.
Okay. That's okay. I'll give you a number,
Okay, that's fine.
kind of. Is
Yeah.
that okay when we get to that
And
point?
essentially, it should just be switching the radios out. The antennas are already ran
Gotcha.
and all that. It's really just going to be programming and switching the radios
Yeah,
out.
okay.
So I wouldn't say that I wouldn't foresee the installation cost being too
Okay.
extravagant.
I got a dollar amount, so
Okay.
I'll throw it out when we get to that.
Is it possible that we order these additional radios, the remainder of the radios that we need, say maybe in July or August, and say we give a delivery date of when we want, the delivery, a no sooner than date to receive the radios of December 15th or whatever?
I think we're going to have to.
Right.
We can,
So if they come in early, we'll just take all but 4.
we can work with our vendors and ask them that. I know another department on the east side that recently did that with some equipment. There was a significant increase on the power cots and loading systems. And there was another department on the east side that went ahead and ordered theirs and asked the vendor to just basically sit on it until they were awarded the BWC grant, and they were able to do that.
Yeah. So
I believe everything actually came in all around the same time, so it's not like they were sitting on it for
Come up with
a year or
some things over
anything.
the next couple months,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd like to have something hammered out probably at least
Yeah.
by the time
So
fall
the-
starts kicking off, if not by the end of summer,
Yeah. The big reason of the delay last year, and it's still going on, was the war over in Ukraine.
Right.
Motorola had government contracts, and other radio vendors had government contracts where they were producing radios for the government, for that situation over there. So not sure if that's still the case, but we can reach out to our vendors and find out what the turnaround is on the order, and then kind of gauge when we need to place our order so that we can get everything in service before Mark flips the switch on July 1st. I'm kind of hoping that maybe all this radio delay would kind of move that date back further into 2025 with Mark's, but who knows?
And that is a good possibility.
Maybe we can lobby for that.
Anybody, anything else, Trustee Shively?
I got one more thing.
Oh, I'm
Sorry.
sorry. No,
That's okay.
go ahead.
Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. But the Miami Town Station, all the repairs are completed. The bay floor is complete. We're back on it. on the top and underneath. The concrete has been, the rebar has been cleaned and all encased back in concrete, and everything looks really, really good. The only thing we were waiting on was the butt joint to be sealed where the apron meets the bay floor to keep that water from running down into the basement. And they were basically waiting for dry weather for that to happen. So aside from that, that's all I have. Unless there's any questions.
You have anything?
I do not.
Nope. Appreciate it.
All right.
You're busy. You got a lot going on.
Just a little bit. It's all good though.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, we're
All right,
good.
Good. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Josh, you want to come on up for your maintenance report?
Just to touch up on last month's subject with cleanup. Our annual spring cleanup is set for April the 27th from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. or until full. We will also have one container, possibly two, in Miamitown, whether or not it needs to be changed out. Peggy and I were told a month or so ago that we were going to receive tire containers, but now we're learning that we're not so sure on the tire containers. We're still awaiting that, so we're not 100% on having tire containers this year. But we will let you know as soon as we hear something. Spring, also a subject from last month. I wasn't here, but we are continuing to use Roush Brothers to help us with our mowing throughout the township. I'm getting things ready for the upcoming season, like blades, oil changes, etc., on our equipment. And CDBG, Peggy and I are trying to get things in order for the upcoming Community Development Block Grant. Once we have all this, everything in a row and everything where it needs to be, we'll get with the board and let everybody know, what the hearing or what we're going for the CDBG. Also, we'll need to set a public hearing date for the CDBG grant, if I can get that out. One more thing I did not put on my list. There was an issue with some signs, maybe possibly in Hooven. Peggy and I drove the township today, and we found a no-through truck sign on one of our roads that we did not put up. We are not allowed to put up legally. Not sure who put it up, but they put it up on our post. So just wanted to
Just recently, or?
yeah, I'm gonna say yeah, pretty few weeks, maybe a month, maybe. I don't recall ever seeing it. I know it's new. We don't use panhead bolts. The sign's brand new on an old post, and it's never been there. So, but it is on our post and sign.
Can you remove it?
I can.
Okay. I think we just go ahead and remove it since it's not ours.
Right.
And hang on to it. Try not to damage it. Somebody claims it, we'll give it back to them.
Will do.
But just for the record, we are not allowed to put signs up on
No.
township or Hamilton County posts without permission through,
Yeah, because with it being a
Township
public road, we
board.
cannot tell the public they can't use that road
correct.
by saying no through trucks.
Yep.
No, legally, we cannot do that.
So why don't you go ahead and remove it? We don't need a motion on it.
Okay.
We can't, we're not, community's not allowed to do that. So if you guys see that, I would just go ahead and remove them from here on out.
Okay. We checked everywhere else. It was just one, but
Yeah.
again, it
Yeah,
It
the way,
wasn't us,
the way
and we
it is
don't know
is
who
if
it
it's not
was,
you or
but-
Peggy putting it up. Nobody else.
no. So
I agree. No.
correct.
And what our administrator is saying is that she did check with our attorney. We do not have legal rights, and, we knew that. You
Right.
just can't put signs up because that's what you want.
Yep.
We'll do everything.
Especially.
Right. So, yeah, it's a good catch, Josh. But yeah, I would just go ahead and remove it. I think that's a new sign. Because it
It's-
caught my eye
it's
within
new,
the
yeah.
last week or so. I'm like,
New,
"That's odd."
retroflective, everything. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're meaning well, but you just can't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But that's all I have, unless you have anything for me.
I do not.
You know?
Thanks,
All right.
Josh.
Thanks.
Thank you.
The community center,
I'll read out. Attendance for 2/12 of 24 to 3/1 of 24. Euchre during the week was 84. Euchre on Friday nights was 61. Chair volleyball was 29. Bluegrass was 112, and country music was 0, for a total of 286. Rentals for March, shelter was closed, the center had 0. For April, the shelter was closed, and the center had 1. Here's one. Just a reminder, programs available at the senior center. It's chair volleyball, euchre, bluegrass, country music. If you have any questions, you can call 513-367-6046 for more information. As always, we're always looking for new ideas for programs for the center. If anybody has any thoughts, please contact Carolyn at 513-367-6046.
trustee Pope, you have any questions about community center?
I do not.
I do not either. Thank you, trustee Shibley. Committee reports. Jim, you want to touch on the sewer district?
Really nothing new other than we're getting closer to putting the State Route 128 Phase 1 project out to bid, hopefully within the next month and a half. So it's a, what is that, a 12-year, 13-year project?
Yeah.
Oh, it is?
Oh, yeah.
At least.
Yeah, Doug worked on that for
Yeah.
11 of those
Oh, no,
13
I
years.
thought you meant the putting it in.
Oh,
Was that
no.
all?
No, the putting it in should be done within 12 months.
Yeah.
We should
I
be,
was like, dang,
Yeah.
no.
Chief, you got something on
I
that?
just have a question. I've noticed some underground utility markings north of Morgan Road. Is that with this project or no?
I haven't noticed those. Is it
It's like,
basically we'll be working from Indiana Oxygen North.
okay, all right, so this is something else. Okay, I just didn't know if we needed to start preparing for road closures, but if it's not even out to bid yet, so this is another
Most
project.
of the work is going to be done alongside the road, but we will have them coordinate with you.
Yeah, this is like right at Valley Insulation, just north of the old Polycraft building.
I think maybe find out for sure. I would think not from what I recall, but maybe we ought to check and make sure.
Yeah, I'm positive Phase 1 doesn't go down that far, but I'm
Okay.
not sure what that
It
could
does start at Indiana Oxygen. But
Yeah, this is well south of there. I just wanted to
Okay.
make sure that we didn't have to
I
ramp
saw
up for,
that too down there.
for something happening in the area, but
Yeah.
I can always stop by Valley Insulation and ask them if they've got a project going on or reach out to ODOT. So, okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Thanks, Chief. Anybody got any questions for Jim on that?
Nope. It's good
Next,
news.
next meeting is, let's see. Tuesday, the 26th, here at the Community Center, 7 o'clock. I will not be at that meeting because Peggy and I will be in Columbus at the Auditors Conference,
Okay.
starting that afternoon, so.
Economic development is pretty much going to piggyback off of whatever the sewer does, so nothing new outside of, some things happening down there in Miami town, but nothing big as far as any new development. You got We Thrive.
We Thrive has nothing to report, just the cleanup coming quick.
Yep.
Hopefully we get the dumpsters for the tires, because we'll be needing to send out the mailers for the cleanup.
Yep.
So hopefully we hear
Yeah,
word on the
that'd be
dumpsters
nice, but-
before then.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to make it clear if there's none, because,
Yep.
I know there's,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah,
Yep. Right.
because they storm that thing usually.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing. The cleanup. Yeah, it's really big. All right. Anything on We Thrive, and Trustee Scheibling? You got anything on solid waste?
Nope, nothing to report. No news is
Okay.
good news.
It is. West Jad, you got anything, Trustee?
Nothing to report on West Chad. Next meeting is in April.
Okay. We'll jump into, does anybody got anything on West Jad? I do Old business, we don't have anything listed. Does anybody have anything on our old business you want to bring up?
Did you check
Oh,
into
yeah,
that?
it's not
It's not on the front
uh,
page, but it's in the,
That's okay. Yeah, you're
I,
right.
uh,
I thought I saw something. Yeah, the license plate.
yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, I forgot to go back and add that.
that's
So,
okay.
It looks to me like we do only have $5 on the license plates. We're allowed a second $5 fee. And last year, our permissive motor vehicle license tax brought in, gotta do it, I forgot my glasses, so $68,596.46. So,
And what all were we allowed to spend that money on?
roads, bridges, equipment for maintenance for roads and bridges. So at the cost of blacktop, I'll do another,
And
Couple
maintenance
hundred
for,
feet.
maintenance, right? For
Oh, yeah.
And our
plowing the
maintenance
streets and-
truck?
Yes.
Because
for
we were just
plowing and- yeah.
talking about how the big truck is nearing the end of its useful life.
I think it's getting to the point where the cost to have it might be about the same as the cost to replace it. Josh is having to do a lot of work on it.
Well,
It's been a good truck.
Yeah, with having one truck, we can't afford downtime during.
I'll make a motion, we go ahead and increase that license fee license plate fee if we're allowed to.
I'll
for
second
the
it.
additional $5. Voice vote, please. You want to write that down?
Yeah,
real
give me a
quick?
minute to write it down.
Yeah, I saw it. I'm like, I thought there was something on there. Then when you said it, yeah, the license plate, yeah,
It's just a shame that the way costs
Yeah.
have gotten is just
yeah.
bad.
All right, Mr. Pope,
Yay.
Mr. Shively,
Yay.
Mr. King.
Yay. Any other old business anybody has?
I don't have anything.
Okay. New business, we have the CDBG public hearing that we need to set. So if anybody is not familiar, that is the Community Development Block Grant that Peggy and Josh pursue every year. We've been pretty successful with that, right?
Every three.
Or every 3 years, I'm sorry. Yeah, every 3 years, and we've been pretty successful with that. So we just need to figure out a hearing date. We probably ought to go ahead and do that now. We got a 2-week notification process we have to go through.
Depending
And-
on which email you read, one of them says 7 days, one says 14.
Well, let's go with the
So I think we
14.
should do the 14 to be safe. So, and if we get it into the register next week, it would get published on the 19th, so we could have it anytime April 3rd or on, but I am busy on April 3rd, not that I have to be here.
So it has to go out for 2 weeks. So the first week, we could even possibly have a public hearing or meeting is the week of April 1st through April 5th. We can go into the weekend, too. Cannot do the
Yeah,
first, so
it would
April
have to be the 3rd on.
3rd on.
I will not be available from the 4th through the 9th.
Fourteenth is what, yes. So how about, the 10th?
10th is fine with me.
Works for me.
Only because the 11th, I have little kids practice and I can't cancel practice on 4 and 6-year-olds.
Is it we're gonna do it in the evening? What time are you thinking?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would have to do it after work, I mean, on the 10th. But I could be here by 3:30, 4 o'clock. You want to do that?
4 o'clock or maybe just a little after. I've got a dentist appointment at 3,
How-
but
Do we want to shoot for, just to make sure, just do 5 o'clock on April 10th? Trustee Shively, you okay with that?
Yeah, I should be able to do that.
You think? You want to do 4:30?
No, I don't want to push, I don't want to, no, because that's not going to make that much difference. I'll make it happen. Fine.
So let's shoot for April 10th at 5 o'clock.
It works for me.
And Peggy, will you make sure you send out a reminder to all of us, especially me? Yes, I know. Yeah. Okay,
Yep.
is that okay?
Yeah, that typically, they're very sparsely attended, so 15 minutes
Yeah.
to half an hour.
Will that be here or back at the administration
We
building?
can do it at the administration.
We'll do it
building.
at, yes. We-
Yeah.
It has to be here, we have to,
It has to be
it has to be recorded.
handicap accessible.
Yep.
Okay.
So we will do the community development block grant hearing here on April 10th at 5 o'clock, right in the community center. Is that good enough, Josh? We got it squared away for you. Okay. Next one we have, we already did the division chief for our, for Chief Schorsch. And then next one, we need to do the approval of the 4 mobile radios. So what I have on here is, I'll make the motion, I'm just going to kind of read it, and then you guys can kind of play it out however you hear it. I'll make the motion on the 4 mobile radios. We'll use the $10,000 grant funds, which we need to pay the difference of $1,828.16, plus whatever installation cost is going to be for the radios. And my suggestion is, since it's 4 radios, is that we do at least $800 per radio. I did not do the math on that, Jim. So, you think 800 is going to be enough, Chief? Or you want me to do 1,000? Okay.
Let's do it not to exceed the total of 15,000.
Yeah, let's do the,
Or it'd be 14.
1,828.16. Yeah, I think Trustee Pope is right. I think we just, not to exceed, Jim, 15,000. That gives you right at $800 per radio. If it's more, then just let us know. Anybody have any discussion on that?
I'll second that motion.
Voice vote?
Mr. Pope,
Yay.
Mr. Shively,
Yay.
and Mr. King.
Yay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we had enough on that installation piece, and, okay. So the difference would really, what we're going to end up paying, Chief, outside of that 10,000 is going to be roughly, just that $5,000 and somewhere in that range. When it's under, we'll just report that in the April meeting, whatever it comes in at. All right, thank you. Anybody else on new business? Trustee Pope?
No, sir.
Trustee Shively?
No, sir.
I have one thing on new business that I want to go ahead and put on the record. I did receive an email. I'm going to kind of leave you out on the email that was sent out on the business up in Hooven on Gosel Trucking, that there was an incident, and Sergeant May, you ended up getting that police report for us. I appreciate that. I think we probably ought to go ahead and try to get whatever Duke had to say out of it. But there's been several complaints out of the Hooven community about this trucking, because they're bringing in actually 18-wheelers, tractor trailers, the big ones, and they come up, Hooven Road, which is the county road, and then they got to take a right or a left down Monroe to get back to where Selhorst used to have his operation, or Jim, old school, the old ball diamond. But I was very tiny when that, but you probably remember that. But anyway, it's back
Before
when-
that, the mini bike track.
Yeah, that was right.
Thank you.
So-
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I was very tiny when that was back in the days. But anyway, it's back where the old cell horse operations at. And so I've only seen, thanks to Sergeant May, one police report actually coming out. And I encourage, if something is happening with this, file a police report. By just coming by and stopping myself or Trustee Shively or Trustee Pope when we're cutting grass, it's not beneficial to us if we do not have a police report. We need police reports. That's how this all kind of takes place, because at the end of the day, we are not the police up here. We're elected officials, and we're going to turn to the Sheriff's Department to try to help us out. But in the meantime, I did reach out to Gosel Trucking. We got a couple different names. So I have been speaking with the CEO of actually that operation. There's 4 brothers that are involved in that, and I am not going to try to pronounce their name. The guy I'm talking to, he goes by Nick Abdul, but it's much longer than that, and I cannot pronounce it or spell it.
Yeah.
So he is willing to meet. They have put this back towards our Josh's department, which is not true. They've put it back towards Hamilton County Engineers. They have met, but not about what we were talking about. I did have Josh reach out to the engineers. We cannot put signs up because it's all public access. But what we need is, and I have no issue meeting with that guy for Gosel Trucking, unless another trustee wants to do that. I have no issue. I do support their business. But the one thing I was telling him is that we need to, what we're trying to do as elected officials is eliminate all this, the community reporting damage to their property. Just by word of mouth, again, I did hear from other members in the community that, and this could just be hearsay, that they were trying to blame our fire department for tearing up the strip of road up on Ohio Avenue, which is not true. We all know, you can see the tire tracks. I did see yesterday they were pulling out, coming down Hooven Road, and my wife and I were just out on our way home, and we watched them make the turn, and I think there was a sheriff's car that ended up following them. They did well, but they were within a foot or so of taking out another sign. So I do not know how we're going to handle it. I think what I'm going to do whenever somebody brings, they have to file police reports. If we don't have a police report, we have nothing. All we're going to get are emails, and there's nothing we can, people are going to, the good thing about the complaint that I saw, and I think Trustee Shively, you saw it, and I don't know if you saw it, is that there was actual video. And then now now that I had the police report, I will get with Peggy and Josh. This is still ongoing. We will look further into it because the owner of the company is denying that it was his truck, which is not true because it is their truck. And then actually it was the same truck I saw leaving yesterday. So, but anyway, we will work through that between the police report and whatever we can find out about things that Duke Energy may be involved in, I think, because I think it was some guide wires. Josh, if you have any additional information, I know the police report did say guide wires. So
Yeah.
what do you have on that, Josh?
I did see the report, the guy wire. So I've contacted Duke, and they sent me to their claims department. It's been a couple days. She did get back to me. Her name was Tasha. She dug pretty deep. She can't find anything that there was an actual claim in Hooven there. I mean, she told me a bunch of surrounding claims, but nothing to do with what we're discussing. She was going to dig in further and hopefully give me a call today or tomorrow. So I'm not so sure that Duke maybe even filled a claim out because maybe it was just the guy wire and not
Okay.
power lines, busted pole, things like that.
Okay.
But that's where we stand with
Yeah.
Duke.
All right. That sounds good. And again, I just appreciate everything Josh and Peggy have done. We've been talking over the last week, and just to make sure we're doing it the right way. And our attorney's not involved or anything like that. I just let everybody know, if this is the case, please file a police report. So the one that did this up on Ohio and Jackson, they did the right thing by having a police report filed, because we can't do anything without it. And then I think what we'll do at this point, I have no issue meeting with the trucking company, but probably at least myself and Josh, who's the director of our public works, and our administrator, Peggy, probably at least the three of us, and probably have our fiscal officer there. So Jim, you can relay information. And this guy, even he apologized that he was misled on some information, Josh. So the last email I did not share. Before we go, I will share that last email. He was pretty apologetic that once I was giving him some information that I was receiving from our administration, that is, maybe he was misled, but I think we need to make sure that we're not tearing up township property, and then, especially if they're going to try to blame our fire department, and we all know we're not going to tolerate that. But I told him I'm in favor of his business and all that. It's just we got to make sure the directions are right, and their folks aren't tearing up our property. I do know a tree has been taken down. Stop signs have been taken down. Mailboxes have been taken down in Hooven. I do not know if it was this company. I would assume it was, because they're 18-wheelers, but we do not know. So I think if anybody's asked, I think we need to make sure we tell them to file a police report, because there are no other police reports. And Peggy, that's what you asked, right? Sergeant May, and there was one police report. So, there's not a whole lot we can do. I do know other damage has happened. Chief, you're probably aware of that as well. Maybe seeing it around town. As a matter of fact, that might have been the whole water main issue back there on Monroe and Brotherhood. Remember they had to dig up that road, Josh? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because that's where the stop sign and the tree was taken down. Back there, they tried to take a tractor trailer back that way. So just FYI, everything has to go through a police report. And you're more than welcome to send us emails and all that. I mean, we will respond to it, but we can only do so much, and we will follow up with Duke. Josh is doing that. I would like to keep this on old business, Jim, until we have that meeting, Peggy, because I know they have said that they have met with the township, but not the CEO and the owners. That is a different organization. That name is correct, but that's not who we're going to meet with. We need to meet with the actual owners. You know what I'm talking about. You can't meet with somebody who is hiring trucks and transporting. We need to meet with the owners, and they're willing to do that. Is that okay? And we'll follow up to the next meeting. Jim, you and I probably talked about this months ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
It's probably going to be an issue. So, Sergeant May, just an FYI, that there was a sheriff that followed him out, and he turned down there at that Fishtail Tavern, and boy, I don't know how he made it. I really do not. That's the real deal. And I just do not know how he even got out of
Trying
town.
to get 53-foot trailers in and out of there.
Yeah, it's bad. It's real bad.
If you have an area where you have issues, I highly recommend to people put in a couple security cameras.
Yeah.
Camera footage can't be argued.
That's what happened, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That's
I
what
had a
happened.
pole taken down and
Yeah.
some wires taken down by my house. And I called the trucking company that I thought was there, and they said, nope, we didn't have anybody there. Pulled it up on my camera and said, I have video of your truck backing over my pole.
Yeah.
There's no denying it at that point. So
Yeah, and you guys
cameras
know.
are cheap.
Yeah, and Sergeant May, you know this, that if it's not a police report, there's not a whole lot we can do. And please do not feel like you're burdening the system by calling and making a police report. That's what That's what Sergeant May does for a living, right, Sergeant? That's what he does. That's who you should be calling, not us saying, what are you going to do?
We don't want to help, and you can't do
No,
that
we
without a police
can't
report.
do it without a police report. So please make sure you make those phone calls. And I know the process can be slow and, but we'll do the best we can. So I just wanted to get that out there so you guys, our administration is not getting a whole bunch of phone calls that it's good. Thank you for whoever reported this, because coming by telling me when I'm cutting my grass, there's nothing I can do about it until it's an actual official report. So, okay. Any other new business? I think I talked enough about that.
I don't have anything.
I have nothing else.
We got public comments. We have one. We have Eric Thompson. You want to come up?
Eric, I'm going to say, because I don't want to put on nobody, it was a miscommunication between me on the dates because the date was moved up, and I should have caught it, and I called you and told you he was going to be here. And it's real. I don't want to put it on him because
Right, it's all good.
he is legitimately can be there and would have made it. It was a little miscommunication, and it probably was something I should have, only because the dates changed. And I'm sorry about that.
All right. I mean, I probably get the gist of what he's gonna say. Though is more of
But he'd
can't
like
do
to talk to you,
anything.
though. I mean,
Right? Has anything changed?
not as of yet, no. And not on his part. They're still pushing for what they, trying to get him to do something with him, and it's saddening. And I hope that people get out and vote. I don't think a lot of times people overlook judges. Like a lot of people I think that I talk to don't even vote. They don't think about judges a lot of time. But when you have these judges that just don't hold people accountable for stuff, man, I'm telling you, and it's got to be more aggravating for the police. It's aggravating for us. It's not our job, but it's even more aggravating for the police and you, because you want something done.
But here's the thing, though. That's only just one charge, just for I think it's for living in a place that he wasn't supposed to live at. That was the charge.
He's got some other stuff and now he's got stuff because he's not showing up for court and everything else. So he's
Right.
like,
But the thing is, too, is I found out more information that the township can do more. I found Ohio laws. It's 3767.41. That's all about the buildings found to be public nuisance. It has a lot of legal stuff in it. And then you guys were saying since it was unzoned that you guys couldn't do anything either. And I found out about section 519.02 of the Ohio law.
hold on real quick, 51902.
Yeah, .02. Board of Township Trustees may regulate location, size, and use of buildings and lands in unincorporated territories. This is an unincorporated territory, correct?
Yes.
Give me that number on the other one too, please, will you?
The public nuisance buildings one is 3767.41. And then I had one more, section 505.86 is removal, repair, and securance of insecure, unsafe buildings or structures. And it's pretty much goes down since the Board of Health has deemed it all unsafe on structure, you guys are able to go in there and abate the issue. And those are all the laws I've been now informed of from Ohio.
I'll look into them, and I'm going to tell you in advance, and I'm not trying to help you. I wish we could do it, but I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to look into this. But most of these are going to be, it's going to fall back as, okay, now we turn it to the police, or they turn it over into the courts, and then they got to go through, and then they got to get the courts to say it's okay to go do things, and that's where we get hung up.
But
You
it
know
still
what I'm
needs to
saying?
be done for the public health and safety of the neighborings in this township and around this public nuisance.
I get it. I mean,
So whatever has to happen needs to happen, right? I mean, the
It's-
health of my neighbors and me.
It's the same as when we got a house that you know is a drug house, and you know it's a drug house.
Well, it's that too.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, and you know it is, but the old school days of being able to just show up and kick the door in.
And I
which
get
wish
that,
you
but
could
there
do.
is a process, and I have been found out that the process can be, taking place, and you guys can do something when you told me you've done all you can do.
No, we've
You
done-
said
we've
it was
turned
pretty
over to
much
the
just now to
police.
the police, but there
We've
is
turned it
more,
over to the
there
police,
is
and
more
they're
that can be
doing
done.
all they can do. They're doing what they can do.
Yeah.
I get your.
Well, and then
education.
the public health has turned it over to them too.
Yeah, and it all goes back. Everything falls back to that judge.
Well, no, it can go back to abating the property by the township.
That's
You have to have a judgment to abate it, though, is the problem. It
It
has
still
to go
needs,
back to
but
a
it still comes
judgment.
on to the township to initiate this process and go through it.
But that is in essence the same process that the Board of Health is going through, declaring it a public nuisance and a health hazard. So,
This is just information I
Yeah.
found when I was told that you guys
Yeah,
weren't
we're-
doing anything
we've
more.
been through the nuisance process before when we couldn't go to the Board of Health for it because it was, just didn't have anything to do with health, had to do with junk. So just so you know, yeah, we've gone this route before, but if they're doing it already, us jumping on board isn't gonna help.
It still involves the township and the trustees, though.
Yeah, I'm just telling you,
Okay.
it's basically the same thing that's already being done. So us joining the suit isn't gonna make it go any faster.
I mean, the more people on this, the better, right? And like I said, the information I found involves the township's approval and everything else of the, whatever, I don't know all the legal stuff, but I'm finding out more as I go about this.
It's the same process, but the Board of Health was actually a shortcut for us. If we'd have done,
Well, the
we've
shortcut's
done
not
this-
working.
We've done this nuisance on other properties, and it takes way longer. Getting the Board of Health involved and have them do it.
We're over a
For
year,
us
we're already
was the
over a
same.
year from this, and they're already saying that they can't do anything more.
And that's the same.
What did it take on 128? How long did it take on 128 then? And it's not done yet. I mean, it's still in the process.
I wanna say 3 years.
We're 3 years in on that property from down on 128. And it's coming to the end, I think, finally on that. It's close. But
Yeah.
yeah, oh, the one down in Miami Town.
So I think what we could do is, I apologize that Officer Peak was not able to make it. But, he is a police officer and that happens. Is that Trustee Shibley, if we can have that set up for our April meeting, which will be our regular meeting
Yeah.
at 7 o'clock. Maybe he has some answers here. That's all we can do, Eric. I wish there was more. I wish I could tell you, well, I got a bulldozer, I can get in there and knock it down for you, but I can't do that.
But I feel like you guys have the legal means and process to be able to do this, even though however much time it takes.
Yeah.
Get it done.
Yeah,
Do it.
It does, it takes time.
You guys just told me that you're just all relying on the public health.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll bring it back up again in April, okay? Thanks, Eric. We have no other public comments listed. You got anything?
No.
Oh, I thought you were going to. No executive session. And then. Okay. What's that? Okay, come
Yeah,
on up.
he wanted to talk about the levy.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that, it's not on my list, so. Yeah, that's okay.
First of all, going back to this trucking company in Hooven you've been talking about, Gossel, is that the name of it? Whatever it is.
Yeah,
When you talk to them, find out where they've got their trucks registered at. Are they paying this $5 road tax, or are they paying
Right.
somewhere else? Because they're going to go in there and they're going to end
Sure.
up maybe tearing our roads up between Hooven Road being a county road,
Right.
and then Monroe and everything else being township roads, is that gonna be tearing up those roads with those heavy trucks? Because I do know, going back probably 30 years, probably when your dad was on, Guy,
Yeah.
there, we dealt with this with SCS when they were in that other building down there where they're at now. They were paying all this road tax money on all their trucks. They had their office over on Zion Road, I think it is, at his house. Now, I see SCS has got a big building down there on Furlong Drive now. They're gonna be hauling all kinds of big, heavy equipment, I'm assuming, in there to do repair work on it and all. Are they paying anything on any of their truck work coming into the township now, or is it still going to Miami Township or wherever it's supposed to be going? I think you guys need to press that issue a little bit more with that big building down there now, because if nothing else, it's gonna be possibly tearing up Furlong Drive, and you guys are gonna have to be repairing that more often too.
They're registered in Whitewater Township.
Are they now? Okay.
I don't know about all of them, but I know that I had asked them, and they are working out of Miami Town now as their address.
Okay, because I was wondering, it's a big building down there. I'm assuming it's got some kind of office, and to me, everything should get moved down to Miami Town area and Whitewater Township now to be paying all their truck fees. So I don't know what they're doing, but to me, it ought to be pressed to get that paid up now. So. The next thing I wanted to bring up is the levy we got to vote on next week. Some explanations on where this is going, how much is being made, some figures on that. You said you were going to dig something up for us.
So, part of it is for the police. So they came to us and they're wanting to try to work with Crosby, Harrison Township, and us, and they want us to pay to have specific cars out here. We already pay through taxes. So they come out and they do the runs. They're trying to establish a west side. They gave us numbers. There's nothing in concrete. I said, when I talked to them, we're trying to get some kind of numbers to find out where it's at. We just don't have the money. It's not that we don't like the police. I mean, we'd like to have as many as we can, but we don't have a bunch of carryover. So the numbers that have been thrown around, and none of it is in concrete, they're wanting, their numbers, they think we need to come up with $1.4 million a year for it. What we've said to them is, we don't want to put that, in Whitewater Township, we put it and we vote on it. And if people vote for it and we can come up with the money, we want to work with them on the project. And so we put it on the ballot and to see where that goes. The other half of it is for the fire department, and it's basically just what we see coming down the road. Some people, Channel 9, they had reached out and asked, and she said, what are you going to get? And when I explained it to her, I said, we're really not getting any. We like to look down the road, and we know with our staffing and how much we've had to give raises and how the cost of everything is going up is for employees and everything else. We know that down the road we're going to need some more money for the fire department too, to just keep our staffing going. There's nothing that we're trying to buy. I said, there's nothing we're trying to buy, or we're not trying to build a fire department. There's nothing. This is all just down the road stuff. So the fire department part of it is something that we need, definitely. We know we have to have the fire department. It's what we have to kind of come up with. The police part of it, it's going to come down to what the voters want to do on that. I mean, if people are willing, that's why we put it out there. Are people willing to, they pay extra to have a dedicated car in the area, if that's what they want. But that's what it's going to take. I mean, if they want a dedicated cars in this area, that's what it's going to take, and even if when that passes, then we can get into more talking about it. They've laid out some numbers, and they want to cut a deal cheaper, and then over the next year it's a little bit more, and then it's a 4 or 5 thing before it gets to the total amount. They can't give me an exact what the total amount will be, in that 5 or 6 years, but that's kind of like the makeup of where it needs to be. So if it gets passed and that money's going to be able to be there, then it'll be more concrete on how they're going to lay out the nail down the exact price on it. So,
Because I did see an article in the Harrison Press, the Register, whatever you want to call it, that said it was only a 9.8 mil. You guys voted to approve a 9.98 mil. Now, which one is it? It's the difference between the two.
It's 9.8.
yeah.
What was the other one?
I thought you approved a 9.98 mil when you voted the
No,
motion
9.8.
9.8.
That's 5.5 to the fire and 4.3 to the sheriff's office. And keep in mind, I don't know if you, I'm sure you do see it, in the chief's report every month, he puts the staffing levels. We've been operating forever at or sometimes below minimum staffing requirements, hence the need for WestJet also. You know, and we need to get up more to the state recommended levels of staffing, and we can't do that with our current budget and remain fiscal. You know, we need to continue to put on personnel. You know, we just bought an ambulance. It was $320,000, where our last one was $130,000. You know, it's just, we're looking down the road a very short ways, and this is the estimated cost that we're going to need to operate, staff, fund our operations.
Now, the 1.4 million you talked about, is that the total being generated by the whole 9.8 mil? Or is there more money above that?
That's the 4.3 mil will generate that projected out 5 years. That will be what it will cover in 5 years at its projected maximum rate.
So what's the total level, what's the total number for the levy altogether? That'd be pulling in?
9.8.
Total amount of money coming in every year.
Oh, I don't know.
That Jim will have. And that depends on the auditors.
Yeah, give me a second and I can find it, but I don't know the number off my top of my head, and I'm not going to give you an estimate because I don't want to miss it. Yeah.
You can, absolutely. This is a very important topic. Yep.
So the biggest issue with the fire department is the cost of services. The cost of doing business is going up every year, and plus we're also seeing staffing shortages, retention. Part-time employees are not easy to come by anymore. The new push for the staffing model is full-time. Not that we are proposing an entire full-time department, but we do need to increase our full-time staffing. We bought a new engine in 2009. That engine was a little over $300,000. We bought an engine in 2019. The cost of that engine, almost darn near identical, was $505,000. That was a 69% increase. Another department over on the east side just purchased a new engine identical to the one that we purchased in 2019, but not as much equipment, $725,000. And that's a 60% increase. The first Braun ambulance we purchased back in 2007 was $147,000. The demo that we just purchased last year was $350,000, so that's a 40% increase. So the cost of doing business is increasing. We've got radios that we've been trying to get on a grant for the last 3 years. You know, we just spent $50,000 last year for 8 portable radios. We still have another $117,000 that we need to purchase. So the cost of doing business is going up, and that doesn't even cover the salaries. We have given salary increases through the contracts with the full-time and the part-time employees, anywhere from 6% to 16%. And that is just to make us competitive with the surrounding departments. And through the contracts, there are increases that we see year after year. Just a quick projection on this year's salary based on, or this year's wages, and this is just labor alone, is an increase of $250,000 is what I'm projecting, based on the hours worked so far this year compared to last year. And that is, we have to pay overtime when we're short. So the bottom line, Keith, is just the cost of doing business for fire and EMS is going up. Goods and services are going up. It's not like we have an immediate need today or tomorrow. This is just basically to help keep the doors open and attract quality, seasoned firefighter EMTs, firefighter paramedics when we have openings in our positions. Our maximum staffing is 6 every day. Our minimum staffing is 4. My goal is to always try to get to 7, which gives us another extra body on an engine. The more people we have on a scene, the more efficient we can work, the safer we are. And our average has always been like right around 5. So, and again, it goes back to the number of part-time people we have on our roster. Right now we have 8, not counting myself, we have 8 full-time employees and 24 part-time employees. And those 24 part-time employees, they're hard to come by nowadays because everyone is hiring full-time. And all the departments around us, they are increasing their wages. We just did a really huge increase for part-time and full-time last year. And, we've been competitive, but contracts are coming up, negotiations are coming up at these other departments. And now I'm also hearing that we have some poaching going on from departments, looking for other full-time employees, looking for good part-time employees. So, we here at Whitewater Township, we need to do what we need to do to make sure that we compensate our employees fairly, for the employee and for the township, but, hopefully to retain them as well. So again, it's from the fire aspect, as Trustee Shibley said, it's looking down the road. And I understand that there's never a good time to ask for an increase when it comes to a levy, but we cannot allow ourselves to fall back to where we were back in 2016, to where we weren't sure if we were going to be able to keep all the doors open,
Man, I remember
to
that
keep
day.
all the stations, to keep the trucks running, to keep the stations running. We're fine today, we're fine tomorrow, but we're not sure if we're going to be fine next year, 2 years from now, without this additional funding. So I hope that answers some of your questions from the fire side, Keith. Okay. No, it is, but for everyone watching also, I mean, I know there's a lot of talk in some Facebook groups, and yeah, it is a huge hit, but when you dial 9, and this isn't a threat or anything like that, but when you dial 911, you want to make sure that someone shows up that's local, and is going to get to you in a timely manner to take care of your emergency. And I don't want that to change. So that's all I
Thanks,
got.
Chief.
You're welcome.
I do want to share something before anybody says anything else. First off, Keith, thank you so much for bringing this up, because you're always at the meetings. I wish people would show up to the meetings and hash this out over the last several months. That would be nice. But I'm going to tell you, for working 2 full-time jobs in public service, my other position is, our chief's right, people are stealing good employees. Our salaries in my other position are going up because we can't afford to lose folks. And everything's going up. It is. And the police department's no different. Our fire department's no different. Not one person. I appreciate everything Trustee Shibley has done with the sheriff's department, everything Trustee Pope has done with the fire department in West Jad. Not for 1 minute am I going to sit up here and say any of my colleagues up here wanted to put this on. I don't like it myself, but we're not able to turn back the times. We got 2 gentlemen sitting out there. We got a chief and a sergeant sitting out there, and We need those folks. I can't afford to lose in my other full-time position, my folks. I get the whole radio business, and it's a lot. And I know Jim's going to give you some numbers, and that's a lot of money. It's devastating. I do not know. I think Trustee Shibley is saying the elections have consequences, and I think that's where we're at. And you know, pass or fail does not matter. As a trustee, I was here in 2016 when chief, and I remember those days. And trustee, or back then it was not Trustee Pope in these meetings, and we need to move forward. We need a fire department. We need a police department. I'm all in favor of that. We need these folks, and I don't know what else to do. I'm not in favor of sitting around doing a 9.8 mil levy, but it is what it is. We have to do it. You know, we're sitting around, not one of us sitting up here, and I'm not speaking for them, but I'm going to tell you our conversation, that's not something we want to do. But at the end of the day, these two gentlemen continue to work on it. You know me, Keith, you're always in these meetings. I'm glad you show up. I'm glad. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't even be talking about it.
Well, I told you last month that I'd just gonna bring it up.
I apologize, because if Jim don't put it in front of me.
Because, you know, you had meetings, you talked about, well, you were talking to the sheriff.
I know.
Department about things, you know, nothing was really said about what you're talking to the sheriff about. But, you know, I kind of had a feeling that that's what it was about, but, you know, I didn't know. Then all of a sudden, you know, you come up to whenever it was, November, December meeting, well, we're going to put on a 9.8 mil levy. Motion passed, and that was it. Nothing else was discussed about it. But, you know, now it's coming out that, you know, part of it goes, well, I talked to Willie after the meeting. Part of it was going to the sheriff, part of it was going to the fire department. Now it's out. How much is going out to each department, roughly? And so we're getting a little bit better definition of what's going where and how it's going to be split up, different things, you know. And people need to know that.
I just wanted to throw something out there, piggyback off what Chief was saying, is that, you know, I get it, and I'm telling you, you know, we all work hard up here behind the scenes, not just here. We do not communicate, but I could tell you right now, when he gets those ORC codes, Trustee Shibley's going to look at it. When Trustee Pope says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to let Jim throw the numbers out, because I do not know. I know it's a 5-year projection. He can throw it out, and then we'll see what happens on the voting day.
So you ready for some numbers?
Throw the numbers.
So the first numbers I'm going to give you are something that that Trustee Shibley and I talked about. So this was last year's numbers on what 1 mil would bring into the township. That's gone up a little bit since they have the new numbers with the reevaluation, assuming that the reevaluation holds. So right now, the county gets 2.26 mils of our tax dollars from everybody in Whitewater Township that goes to their general fund. Now, all those special levies out there, like the zoo, and we probably have a special one for Fiona at the zoo, or I don't know, but all those special levies, the mental health, the child development, all those are specific levies that are restricted in their use, so the county can't get to that. So we pay, based on our millage last year, about $320,000 to the Hamilton County General Fund. Hamilton County spends 27% of their general fund on the sheriff, and this is where I differ with them a little bit. I think they need to be paying more for public safety, but that's for another conversation. So of our $320,000 that we paid to the county, $86,400 of that goes to the sheriff's budget. So that was a question we had, because they kept saying we don't pay anything. Well, we do. We pay them $320,000, and we don't get a lot of county services back, but but they figured out at $86,400 is what goes to the sheriff from what we give them. The 9.8 mil levy is estimated to bring in $1,771,000 in its first year. So if you figure roughly 55% of that goes to the fire department. So you're looking a little over 1.5 for the fire department, 1.27 for the sheriff's. And the only way we're going to get to the number that the sheriff wants is we're going to have, because they're going to roll it in, we're going to be able to roll some of that money over every year until we start losing money on the sheriff's contract. And at that point in time, hopefully we'll have our fire department set up and we won't need quite as much and we can make this last 10 years. And I'm just guessing at the 10 years. One of the things that's involved in the sheriff's contract is they have, the patrol officers are represented by their union. They have union negotiations. They have a contract, and I don't know how many years, every 3? Every 3 years. So whatever the increase is in what it costs to put an officer on the road, our cost will increase by that every year. And they're looking at 3 cars, full-time, 24 hours a day, for the 3 western townships, Harrison, Whitewater, and Crosby. So that initial figure of 1.4, by the time we get to that, we really don't know where that's going to be because we don't know where their contracts are going to be. And we also have to buy cars. We have to, we'll share in the cost of cars for those officers. We'll share in the cost of insurance for the cars. So there's a lot of things that will come in on top of what that base contract is. So I would hope that this levy would hold out and get us through, 7 to 10 years. I would bet money, based on what Chief Scorch has gone through, that I don't know that we'll have any part-time people in 7 years. If we do, it'll be very few because it just keeps dwindling. He's out there, got stuff up everywhere trying to draw in part-time people, and they just aren't out there. So if we can't get the part-time people, then we have to put people on full-time, provide benefits and things, and it's a vicious circle.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I've come to enough of these meetings. I know what's going
Yeah.
on. I just need more information. I've had a lot of people ask me what's going on
Yeah.
with the millage and what we're voting on, and I told them right now I don't have figures down, but now I can go back to some of these people and this is what's going on, what we're doing and what's going to be happening.
It's a lot.
So,
And
Oh, yeah.
based upon the township size, given square mileage, road miles, population, calls for service, Whitewater Township is responsible, what was that, 54% or 55%?
Just over 50%.
It was just over 50% of that 3 townships.
Over 50%.
Yeah, of the 3 townships combined, we're responsible for over 50% of that cost.
now, the other 2 townships got levies on it next week too, or?
Crosby does not, and apparently, I don't know if they've got the money to go down there. I do know I've talked to them at Harrison Township, and they're gonna put, last time I talked to them, they're working on putting one on for the November. They
Yeah,
couldn't get it done in time.
It's a timing thing to get them on.
we
Yeah.
had to really hustle to get the information and things to get it onto this levy
Yeah.
or into this election. It wasn't easy, but we got it on. So.
When you're putting on a levy, November, they're working on that right now to put it on in November.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you see postings, and Chief, you can correct me if I'm wrong, anybody up here, we've been working on this for 8 months prior to it coming out, but we weren't even sure we could make that deadline, right, Jim?
Yeah, it
For the March.
especially because they didn't.
Takes a lot.
They didn't know what the new valuation was going to be, which hurt a lot of people on their levies for last year because
You were always busy trying to get some kind.
Well, we've been
we
actually, I
didn't
mean,
know.
this has all started almost 2 years ago when when they first started talking about bringing them out here, and when we're trying to nail down the numbers and figure out what we'd have to get, because we just don't have it, right? I mean, it's not like.
And I don't want to step on Trustee Shively. Numbers kept going up.
Oh,
Every
yeah,
time
they
he'd
kept-
meet, he'd
yeah,
meet
they-
again. Numbers just
It
kept
was-
going up. And
Now the-
everything was going up so fast, it was just,
This levy we're voting on, is it got a term limit on it, or is it a continual levy forever?
it's a 5-year. Oh, let me double
make
check.
sure.
No, it's a continuous levy. So we did decide on the continuous, not a 5-year.
Okay.
So the problem with that is, when it's a continuous levy, that's all the money it brings in, is what it brings in
Yeah.
when you pass it. So,
So that's what Jim's trying to say. We're hoping that'll work for chief and all the, 10 years down the road, hopefully.
Yeah, all of our past levies don't increase with inflation. They
Right.
stay at the amount that they were generating back when they were
Chief's
passed.
saying
Right.
that we would lose money.
So they never go up. And I just looked at something that just kind of shocked me, even though I see the figure every month. We've already this year had 250 emergency calls in 2 months for our fire service.
And we're growing, we're not getting smaller.
Right.
It's growing.
and part of the thought process is, as the sewer's going on 128, we'll get new development, and we'll have some more money that'll come in. They've talked about, we've already started the process to do a TIF, which is tax incremented funding. Part of that money would go towards upgrading Furlong Drive, because there's gonna be more development back there.
Right.
But those particular parcels will be paying more to the township and not as much to the county, so we can spend that money there. We've also looked at doing a joint economic development district so that we could share an income tax with someone on those areas. So, we know they're gonna be expensive, because as you said, the Sawhorse trucks going in and out of there are heavy, and, with the, they're gonna have some really great sites right at the interstate, so it shouldn't be hard to fill those.
Right.
But, we've got to upgrade the road to get that started. So, and quite honestly, one of the things we've talked about, Doug and I, is getting with ODOT and doing something with State Route 128 from the Miami Town School all the way to the beer house. Because that whole area needs,
It's not
Upgrade.
wide enough.
Yeah.
There's too much traffic already, and that's just going to increase.
Right.
so, and I don't know where the money's going to come from for that. Hopefully, most of it from the state.
We don't have it.
So,
And then to add into your very initial communication about Sawhorse on their trucks and everything, Sawhorse has been working directly with us on our economic development of that area and sewer development, and they are involved in the community, very involved in the community.
Yeah, just, kind of maybe mad years ago when everything was going to Miami Township, when they had their office over there and was rolling trucks in and out of Hooven all the time then, and, I don't know if they did any damage or not, but, everything kind of rolled in and out of there a lot, now they got this bigger building down there, and you see this big digger down here across from the old Gulf refinery. Sometime that's going to be going back down there, I'm sure, to be worked on, and that's a lot of weight in that thing, going in and out of that road. And so, yeah, it's going to end up crumbling the road up, and then I got to repair it and take care of it more often also.
yeah, the TIF will provide funding so that we can upgrade that road, and then the new road they put in at the end of that will all be up to spec for that type traffic.
Okay. The only other thing I got to bring up, go back to the chief comment he made about poaching employees. North College Hill's got a bunch of guys coming from Frayable.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I did not, so
Maybe
you're
we can
right.
poach some of them guys to come down here.
Well, and that's the whole point right there, Keith. You're right, is other departments are crumbling because of this. Yeah.
And the one thing that I will say is we've always dealt with that out here from all the way back when we were a part-paid department, when I was a trustee. This is a good area for people to come and get experience because we have the highways, we have the water rescue. The guys and they get good training out here. They do a great job, but when they do a great job, other departments that pay more are like, oh yeah, well, we know at Whitewater they got trained well and
Right.
they got a variety of experiences, and our employees are sought after.
Keith, anything else? Okay.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay. Just real quick comments. Solar eclipse, April 8th at 3 o'clock. You'll be able to see it. That's a Monday. You can see it right here in our neck of the woods.
One of the best areas.
Yeah, we are. So April 8th, 3
Crazy.
o'clock.
Probably be a bunch
Yep.
of people.
And I second that, trustee Pope, unless you got something, trustee Shine. Voice vote.
Be safe.
Mr. Pope,
Yay.
Mr. Shively,
Yay.
and Mr. King.
Yay.